Welcome back to We Are Austin. It is the last week of Women's History Month, and my next guest's project highlights how the world can become a better place when women come together. Today, friendship expert and author Sherry Lead joins me to chat about her 50 states project and goal of sharing a meal with one woman in every state. Welcome, Sherry. It is so good to have you here.
It is so great to be here. This is my first visit to Texas, and so I'm so happy to start out in Austin.
Yes, well, welcome. It is the best city in the state, if you have to ask me. But 50 states, meeting a stranger, a woman in every single state. What inspired you to do this?
Well, I didn't grow up traveling the U.S., and actually I didn't realize until I started this project that I had a belief that maybe I wasn't welcome everywhere in the U.S. And so part of it is just challenging that belief.
Right.
And the other part is, you know, getting to every state and making it meaningful. And as you mentioned, I am a friendship expert, so what more could be meaningful than actually meeting somebody and establishing a friendship in every state?
Yes, so how did you become a friendship expert, Sherry?
Yes, it happened organically. So I coach women, I'm a life coach, and women would come to me for maybe job changes, relationship changes, moving to a new area, transitions in life.
Right,
And
we all go through them.
It all circled back to friendships.
Wow.
Always the conversations circled back to friendship, so it organically became an interest and a specialty of mine.
Oh, that is just beautiful. And now you're using your platform to connect with different women around the country and to just make this connection, but it's also a growing experience for you as well. So tell us about those experiences that you've had so far.
Sure. Well, Texas is my 8th state. So last week I was in Missouri, and I started out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, also with a stranger who I didn't know.
Wow.
And so I know very little about the women I'm meeting with.
Right.
And immediately each greeting, you would thought that we were good friends. Oh, there's New Mexico.
Yeah.
And, you know, she and I started to talk about when our lives changed. And it happened over in 2017. She was telling me about when her father was diagnosed with something that's a genetic disease, Huntington's.
Yeah.
And how from that diagnosis, she started living very purposefully. That also happened to be the year I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh,
and
goodness.
I started living very purposefully. So the stranger and I, we're sitting across, you know, Nicole, we're sitting across the table from each other, almost with tears in our eyes, having this really meaningful conversation and just connecting on this story that we didn't realize we had in common.
Exactly, and you know, sometimes it is easier to have those types of conversations with a stranger versus one of your closest friends, and that unfortunately is true in a lot of ways. But now you're meeting these strangers and they're becoming close friends.
Yes, absolutely. I think every woman, we'll see if this is the same when I get to 50, but
Yeah.
I'm texting them every week, you know, we're about little things, not necessarily about this project, but like you would do with a girlfriend.
That is incredible. So you're going to have 50 new best friends.
Yeah.
But right now you are stopping in Austin. So tell us about who you have met here and how did you find this person?
Sure. I met a woman named Taylor Princeton, and I knew nothing about her because I found her looking for women in Austin. I decided to look for small business owners because I figured, okay, that means that they're established in Texas. They'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
I made sure that they're pretty active on social media, which for me meant they communicate a lot online because that was important if I was going to travel all the way to a new place that we had good communication.
Right.
So coming here, I knew she was a photographer, so we set up a little photo shoot in Austin ahead of time. But I didn't know how old she was. I didn't know her background. So far, she's the youngest person I've met in this journey. She's still in her 20s.
Aww.
And I'm in my 50s. So I'm meeting this woman who's about almost a quarter century younger than me. And I have to tell you, I was so impressed by how much she knew herself.
Incredible.
And what lessons I got from her, sitting across from her, hearing her story and her plans for the future and her plans of travel.
Yeah.
It reminded me when I went to Arizona and met the woman in Arizona, Anna. She introduced me to her friends. One of her friends was 93 years old, a woman named Betty. And there are stories about how Betty continues to meet people. She continues to make friends. And of course, most of her friends,
inspiring.
most of her friends are younger than her. So when I was sitting across from Taylor, just inspired by this young woman here in Austin, I was thinking about Betty and thinking, wow, this is really it. You know, I don't need to, look for my elders or my peers to be inspired. I could look at the millennials, the younger generation that quite honestly, I've kind of been like, oh, what do they know yet? And Taylor just taught me, wow, I could learn so much. And maybe that's part of the key, that as we get older, we can continue to connect even with the younger generation. So it's not about living so long that you start to lose people, which is really sad, but living so long that you can start to meet even more people.
Oh, I love that. That was just so beautiful, Sherry. This journey that you are on is so inspiring, and we want to follow you and follow along as you continue around the country. So how can we do that?
Sure. My name's Sherry Lead. Google it, or my business, it's a long name, and Imperfectly Perfect Life on social media.
Awesome, Sherry. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning on We Are Austin. This conversation was so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.